Hello and welcome back to our Swift Playground series. This is video number 3 where we're going to take a look at some if statements. We might also explore how to integrate some of the skills that we've previously learned into solving something that looks quite simple but actually requires a little bit more thought. So let's dive right in and take a look. So here we are again in Swift, and the puzzle today looks, like I said, quite simple because we've only got 3 switches here. But the problem is these switches are going to toggle on and off in different orders every time the code runs. So we have to really think about how we're going to get our character to deal with that problem. But let's have a little bit of a change of character today. In lesson 1 we used Little Blue, our little drip on the side. At lesson 2 we used Hopper. So I think it's only fair we give Bite a go today. Okay, so first of all, I've got to get Bite to the first switch. So the first thing I can do is just type move forward, move forward. We might look for a more efficient way of doing this later on once we've tackled our first problem. Okay, so I'm ready to write my very first if statement. And all I'm going to say is, if my character is on a closed switch, all I want him to do is toggle that switch on for me. So here's how I write it. Now, I already know how to use the toggle switch command. It looks like this. But for it to work in my if statement, it has to come after my is on closed switch statement. So I'm going to use some curly brackets, and that's just letting the system know that whatever I put in that curly bracket, that's what I want it to do if it's on a closed switch. These commands can be as simple or as complex as need be. You'll notice that Swift puts a little orange dot next to a line of code that is incomplete, and this is quite helpful for you to spot bugs or spot things that you've mistyped. And you'll also notice that after toggle switch, it's important to put those closed parentheses as well, just like you would after any other function. Let's run the code and see what happens. So Bite moves forward, he moves forward again, and he's on a closed switch, so he's going to toggle it on. So far so good, but the problem is I need him to do that in any situation, and also I need him to complete it for the other 3 switches as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these move forward statements, and I'm going to use a skill that we learned in a previous video. I'm going to include a for loop, and I'm going to count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 steps that I need him to take. So I'm just going to enter for 1 to 4, and then I'm going to take my if statement and I'm going to drag it in here, just like you would with block-based coding, so that now he's going to move forward and he's going to check the switch every time. So if he's on a closed switch at any of these points, he's going to toggle it on. Let's see if it works. He's on a closed switch, he toggles it. Closed switch, toggles it. The final closed switch, he toggles it. Fantastic. We've been successful. Now, I'm going to try and run this code a few more times because, as you may have noticed, the order and configuration of the open and closed switches changes every time we run the code. So this time, we've got a closed switch, then an open and an open. Let's see if the system understands my code and runs the same checks every time. Brilliant. One last check just to make sure. And this is the great opportunity to talk to the children about how efficient just a few lines of code can be for doing quite complex things. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Join us next time where we're going to look at some if statements, but using them to do a few more complex things. See you in the next one. If you'd like to find out more, click subscribe and also turn on notifications so you're up to date with everything that we're doing on YouTube. And don't forget to check us out on Twitter @DLT Hartlepool for the latest and also to get in touch.